Hey everybody, it's John Hope Bryant, founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Operation Hope, and CEO of Bryant Group Ventures as well, and author of several books, most notably tonight the book The MEMO, which comes out in September, which if you like this story tonight, you might want to pick up that book because it'll be instructive for you. I'm at the moment, this is a pop call Sunday night. I'm en route through Pennsylvania. This is what part of Pennsylvania we're in now?
We're outside the suburb.
Outside of Philadelphia, right?
Yes.
So we're outside of, hey LaShawn, hey Nia Phillips. We're outside of Philadelphia, heading to Reading, Pennsylvania, where tomorrow morning we will open a new Hope Inside location. But on my way from the airport, I met with a friend, and hey Arlene, and others signing on from around the world. Hey Jennifer, and the friend wanted to unpack a little bit about something that had been bothering them for a few years now. They wanted to acknowledge and admit that they had my back on something years ago, but never told me about it, never talked to me about it, and felt bad that they never brought it up to me, and felt bad that some folks were sort of scheming against me. And I wanted to use this as an instruction on how you can manage pain and how you can live your life. So the story or the topic of this particular video is the setup, the lie, and overcoming the stigma of race. So I'm going to say this without giving some details. I want to keep some people's privacy, but this involves a group called the Young Global Leaders. It's not involving the group directly, but it involves a group that I was a member of years ago, and people who were talking about me back then as relates to this story. So I was in a relationship with somebody, and excuse me for not giving you details. Again, I'm going to try to keep their privacy private. I was in a relationship with somebody, and the relationship for me wasn't working out. And one of the traits that a friend of mine, Landon Taylor, told me I had today was that if I see them between me and my mission, there's nothing that will keep me from my mission. I think that's what God put me on this earth to do. And I'll clear all the decks. I'll remove every obstacle between me and getting to where I'm going. And I don't hesitate. And so because of that, I benefit from what I call clarity of vision. Clarity of vision. And I'm able to then make very clear-headed decisions, and I don't hesitate when I do that. And I'm encourage you to, when you really know something, don't be half pregnant. When you know something, step into your life with both feet and believe with both feet that what you're doing is right. And the universe will back you. Step into your life with both feet. Believe what you're doing is right. And do it authentically, and the universe will back you. The universe has a perfect accounting system. Whatever goes around, comes around. So in this particular situation, I did not want to be in this particular relationship. Had signaled that I wanted out of the relationship. This is years ago now, and more than a decade ago. And I got a call from the person's relative saying, if you don't stay in this relationship with this person, we're going to hurt you. And you're the hope guy, you're the love leadership guy, you're the dignity guy. It's easy to hurt you, they said. You run a nonprofit. I mean, who believes that a young black man running a nonprofit is honest, right? I mean, you live too good of a life. You must have your hand in the cookie jar. There must be something unethical about what you're doing, and if it's not, then it's easy to get people to believe it anyway. Hey, Tim Burton. So they said, we're just going to set you up. We're going to feed this to the press and let the dominoes fall where they may, because you're a young black man in a white world, and they're prepared to believe the worst in you. Nobody believes you're authentic anyway, and so we're going to set you up unless you do what we say. And I said, of course I'm not going to do what you say, and do as you like. I mean, I'm just going to live my truth. And the moral of the story is never have any buts next to your name, which I'm going to get to in a moment. So unbeknownst to me, this person made sure some documents that were personal to me and this person I'm talking about were leaked, in this case to the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal put 2 reporters on this case, and I must say, if the Wall Street Journal had got the story that they thought they got, I do not question them one iota. They should have pursued me a decade and a half ago if they thought that this was legitimate. So I'm not angry with them, because the narrative, unfortunately, in the world we live in, where people tend to believe the minorities doing this work has to be unethical or something, and there's not enough positive black stories of entrepreneurs and business people who've done it right, all right? So people have these biases and these narratives in their head. So I got this call from 2 reporters out of the blue. We're doing a profile on you, trying to speak to my ego. We want to do a photo shoot with you. No, thank you. I said, I don't need a photo shoot. I don't need a profile. But if you want to talk to somebody, talk to my chief financial officer at Operation Hope. They said, no. We want to talk to you. Okay. We understand you take limousines wherever you go. Now, I'm in a car service now, and this is my driver, so I'm not driving. This is my man. When I come to Philadelphia, he's a great guy. I said, no, I'm not. I drive, even out in the back, I sit with the driver in the passenger seat, but I don't take limousines. I take car services. Oh, you see some invoices that says carry limousine service, and you think I take a limousine. I don't. I take a car service, like everybody else in business. Oh, well, we understand that you have an AmeriExpress Black Card. What does that matter? I said. Oh, you think that Operation Hope paid for that because it's an annual fee it's expensive. No, that's my card personally, and I pay for it. Oh, we understand you have an expense account. No, I don't have an expense account. I have an expense report. This is why it's so important to be financially literate, to be reasonably comfortable in your own skin, to don't lose your cool, to don't get angry, don't lose your footing. You gotta be stable in your life, and you gotta respond to life, not react. Respond to life, not react. Respond to life, not react. Whenever you make an emotional decision, it's going to be the wrong decision. If I got angry with these reporters at any time in this conversation, they would have crucified me. If I got angry with them and went off, they said, "See, I told you he's guilty." Because on top of that, now they said, "Well, we don't like him." On top of everything else, he's arrogant. Whatever. He's guilty. Because look at how he's responding to us. I just kept my cool because I knew the truth was on my side. So they said, "Well, we know you have an expense account." No, I don't have an expense account. They talked like they knew what they were talking about. I knew the truth. I have an expense report, which means that it's my money I pay on behalf of Operation Hope out of my pocket, and then Operation Hope reimburses me for only legitimate expenses, and it's documented. And I've audited financials. But they're trying to get me off my game. All this was designed to get me off my game and make one mistake. So then they said, "Well, you stay in 5-star hotels." No, I don't. I stay in business hotels. Well, you wear expensive suits. No, I don't. I swear, not as anybody's business, but I wear business suits. It's made by an Operation Hope success story. Drove clothing, and I pay $800 for the 800,000, whatever the number is, for the suits, and I'm honored to wear them. Right. So I didn't walk away from my truth. I didn't hide. I just was calm and methodical, and I laid out and I responded to every one of their complaints. Now, they were on the phone with me for 4 or 6 hours, just drilling me. And I never lost my cool, answered their questions. Clearly this was biased. Clearly they'd already written the story. In their minds, what they were told by somebody trying to set me up, it's a decade ago, but for somebody who was trying to set me up, who was hurt because I was walked away from somebody that they related to, that I said I didn't want to be in a relationship with anymore. They saying, either you pay this person that I'm not going to mention, or we're going to hurt you. You pay this person, or we're going to hurt you. And so, make a long story short, for 11 months they investigated me. 11 months, 2 reporters, full time. I asked the guy from the New York Times, "What's the chances they won't write this story?" Hey, Loretta Washington. Hey, Yolanda Frazier. This is probably the most intimate story I've ever told you guys, right? So, what's the chance they won't write this story? And the guy from the New York Times said there's a 5% chance they won't write this story. 5%, because they have too much invested in it. They've got 11 months of investigative reporting, dug into this, and they've really already written the story in their mind. They already believe that the story is true because what they think they got on inside information. And all they're looking for you is one slip. They're looking for one. They don't even need the truth. They don't even need this to be true. They just need one little slip up from you and have one iota of this to be an iota of the truth. And then they'll do smoke and mirrors and let the rest of it fall where it may, because then it's a front page story, and everybody's prepared to think that a young black man doing what I was doing is somehow not honest. And all this leads to about what I do in this video series, and how I tell you to suggest you live your life, and how I've not only survived but I've thrived. So I'm getting to the punchline here in a minute. So 11 months go by, and the New York Times says there's a 5% chance the story will not get written, which means there's a 90% chance it's gonna get written. And it's going to be a negative story. And make a long story short, the story went away. because there was no story, because they could not find one thing negative to hang on me. And they would call people I know, because they would call me a decade ago and say, look, somebody from this reporter called looking for negative information. When I told them something positive, they didn't want to hear that. They just hung up the phone. What's my message to you? What's my point to you? Number one, be transparent. Andrew Young said that, you know, the FBI would always listen to his phone calls. He knew he was being bugged by the FBI. But he said, look, if they want to listen to me talking lovely to my wife, knock yourself out. But there's nothing that I'm doing, he said, that I'm embarrassed about. So he was never embarrassed or uncomfortable about having the FBI. This is Dr. Andrew Young's, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s right arm in the civil rights movement. He said, there's nothing I'm embarrassed of having them here. Let them hear what they like. He was transparent, and he was honest, and he lived a good life, and he had no concerns about that. And the FBI actually had a safe house 2 doors from his house that stayed there the entire civil rights movement, and only was removed about 6 years ago. It's a whole other story I'll tell you another time. The first thing is to be transparent. The second thing is to never lose your cool. Life is 10% what life does to you, and 90% how you choose to respond to it. Number 3, you'll never go bad doing right. You'll never go bad doing good. The universe is a perfect accounting system. Karma is real. So if you put good energy back, ultimately you'll get good energy. You put good energy out, you ultimately will get good energy back to you. So whatever goes around comes around. Now, if I was a heathen or a jerk, and if I was messing up in the world, then this would have been my undoing. but here's the thing I can control, and here's my real point to you. And let me go back to this third point. Life is 10% what life does to you, and 90% how you choose to respond to it. Don't get emotional, get even. Don't get angry. Don't hit somebody with a brick. Hit them with your American Express black card and knock them out, okay? Success is the greatest revenge. Just keep your cool. Don't react. Respond to life. Don't react. React is emotional. Here's the number one trait I want you to understand. The number one trait. I never wanted to have a but next to my name. If you heard nothing else, I need you to hear this. If you're born black in America, you're born on probation in America. You have to be twice as smart, twice as intelligent, twice as well-dressed, twice as prepared, get up twice as early, stay up twice as late. You've got to be smarter, sharper, more intelligent. But you know, I never resented the fact that I had to be better. All this bias and discrimination, which I have faced. You don't hear me talking about racism a lot on this series, because I don't think that it matters in the course of you succeeding in your life. And I'm about to tell you how to win, no matter who's standing in your way, no matter what obstacles you have. But if you make racism your focus, it becomes bias confirmation. Whatever you are focused on is going to grow and is going to then get in your way. So it doesn't mean that racism has been a factor in my life. It means that I've ignored it. I've decided to make it irrelevant by just being twice as good as anybody I'm standing next to, become an excellence freak. And here's my point. Never have a but next to your name. I never wanted somebody to say, you know, I like that guy, John Bryant, but I respect that guy, John Bryant, but I want to invest in Operation Hope, but I think they do good work, but I admire John Bryant, but. Now, the only one of those buts I really don't mind. The one I don't mind really is I don't like John Bryant, but you have a choice to not like me. I'd rather you respect me and learn to like me than to like me and never respect me. It's okay if you don't like me. I like me because I'm reasonably comfortable in my own skin. I'm reasonably comfortable in my own skin. It's okay if you don't like me. I like me. Look, all of our heroes didn't, and most of our heroes did not die of old age. Jesus Christ did not die of old age, and he was the best we have. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did not die of old age, and he's at least 5 times better than I'll ever be. Gandhi did not die of old age, so don't get obsessed. Malcolm X did not die of old age. Don't get obsessed about somebody liking you or not liking you. If you are truly a transformational leader, or if you're what I am attempting to be, which is a disruptor. I'm actually a positive disruptor of poverty, of power, of victimization, of low expectations. I am telling you probably exactly the opposite of what you're getting from almost every other source in your life that is a public broadcast. They're probably telling you the exact opposite of what I'm telling you. They're telling you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. And as a result of me telling you what I think you need to hear, you may not like what I'm saying. In fact, there's many people who will comment on some of these videos and reject what I'm saying because to accept what I'm saying is to accept that you've got to take personal responsibility for your life, and that the narrative of your life actually may need to be reset, and it may not have all that to do with outside factors. That your failure or your success may have a lot to do with the poverty mindset that is embedded in your brain. Even though there are many people that are angling for your failure, you should not be helping them, is my message to you. Somebody wants you to fail, there's no doubt about that. Why are you helping them? People who are bad people have to go to sleep. So they got to sleep at least from, I don't know, 8 hours a night. Why aren't you working when they're sleeping? When people are angling against me, I am working twice as hard to outrun all that drama, because it's hard to hit a moving target. And that's why I say when you don't have the magic of compounded interest, you can have the magic of compounded hustle. And so while I can't deal anything with whether somebody do anything about whether somebody likes me or not, and that's why I tell you your self-esteem is so important. There's somebody out there who's watching this video who is conflicted. Hey, Lisa. Yes, it's your state of mind, because they're conflicted, because they have high confidence but low self-esteem. Did you get that? There's somebody watching this video right now, you're conflicted because you don't understand yourself, because you got high confidence but you don't realize you also have low self-esteem, which means you're in conflict with yourself. Self-esteem, the Socrates form of education, so says Andrew Young, is really about it's not about education being poured into you. It's about you unleashing the God-given talent in front of you, the God-given being inside of you, unleashing that esteem out into the world, and once you release your self-esteem into the world in a very positive environment, you then soak up all the knowledge around you, and then that embeds back into you, and then nobody can stop you. So education really is about you unleashing yourself into the world, not somebody pouring something into your head. You already have everything that you need. God made you great. God made you perfect. And then the world comes along and tells you that you're a bum. The world tells you you can't. The world tells you impossible. The world tells you that you can't succeed. People who so-called love you are jamming you up on a regular basis, because hurt people hurt people. And in a blind town, a one-eyed man's king. And when you don't know better, you cannot do better. There are people who I respect and admire. That's part of this group that I mentioned earlier. I'm not going to mention them again because I don't want to give negative connotation to the group. But there are people who were outside a decade ago talking about me, saying negative things about me, because they are biased confirmation. They were not prepared to see a young black man succeed as I was succeeding, without joining those clubs, without going to fraternities and sororities, without pimping myself, without becoming part of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, without being owned by somebody. Here's a young black man who did it on his own through hustle and hard work, and went directly to the White House, not through some congressperson, not through the Congressional Black Caucus, God bless them, not through some other orifice where I've got to kiss the ring, not by bowing to somebody. I just simply was authentic, and I worked hard and said, because of the power of my ideas and the authenticity of my beliefs, that what I'm doing should be valued, and one day it will if I just don't give up. I'll just outrun failure. And that really upset a lot of power structures in this country, and they were actually rooting for my failure. Actually, literally, for no good reason other than that they didn't create me, they didn't control me, and they weren't being paid by me, and they weren't benefiting from me, and I was a threat to their power structure, so they felt that they had to destroy me. And then there are some people sitting in the cut just sort of waiting for bad news to show up, like, this guy just can't keep winning like this. He can't be real, because if he's real, that means that we're a lie. Or if he's real, that means that we're not as bulletproof and one-dimensional of success as we thought we were, so he's got to lose. So when the reporters came along calling people, and when the rumors went around about John Bryant's going to come down a decade ago, they were secretly going, yeah, I sort of thought that would happen, or I wouldn't mind if that happened, even though I did nothing to them, even though I had no negative. In fact, I love them even when they didn't like me. I still love them. You don't hear me jamming them up. You don't hear me jamming the Wall Street Journal up. You don't hear me calling the Wall Street Journal negative names, because they weren't. They were buying into a false narrative about a young black man. They're prepared to believe, because of racism and discrimination and 500 years of slavery and Jim Crow and negative imaging, they're prepared to believe the worst in me, not the best in me. And, you know, that is sad, but I'm not going to claim that. And I'm just going to prove you wrong. And that goes back to what I'm saying to you. Over to round it to it, you're going to have to get to it. You can never give up. You got to redefine success as going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And you got to live your life in a way in which you want to be comported and viewed by others. And I just decided I was going to be black for a living. I wasn't going to be a victim. I wasn't going to be checked. I wasn't going to be walked off the field because of some silly stuff. I wasn't going to be walked. If I was going to fail, I was going to fail big. If you're going to succeed, succeed big. You're going to fail big. Don't fail small. What did Benjamin Mays, Dr. King's right arm in the civil rights movement, his mentor, said that the greatest failure, the greatest sin was not failure, it was low aim. The greatest sin was not failure, it was low aim. And I never wanted to be a victim or a product of low aim, ever. If I was going to go out, you hear John Bryant went out, no, I went out in flames. I went out swinging the big bat at the biggest ball thrown at me. Because even Hank Aaron will tell you he had the record for the most strikeouts, but he also had the record for the most home runs, but he also had the record for the most strikeouts, which most people do not know. And Dr. King gave the I Have a Dream speech 100 times before the March on Washington. 100 times. And they called him Martin Luther King and Martin Luther Coon and Uncle Tom and Sellout and Wannabe, and that was his friends talking. See, that's a story you don't hear. That life is about resilience and it's about never giving up, but it's also keeping your hope. Not just hope in others, but hope in yourself. Because if I don't like you, if I don't like me, I can't like you. If I don't feel good about me, I can't feel good about you. So I had to become reasonably comfortable in my own skin. I had to be transparent. I had to be a truth teller. I had to admit that I wasn't perfect. So if I admit that I'm perfect, then you can't hang that on me. If I admit already that I'm not perfect, that a saint is a sinner that got up, there's nothing you can say to me that hurts me because I've already admitted what you are about to try to accuse me of. I know I'm not perfect. We all know no one's perfect, so why is anybody playing the game? But the most important thing, I made sure my audit was tight. I made sure my finances were tight. I made sure that I told my team at Operation Hope, never do anything. So I told them for 25 years. That's why we never had a scandal. Never do anything you don't want to see on the front page of the LA Times in 5 years. Never do anything you don't want to see on the front page of the New York Times or the LA Times in 5 years. Don't put me in a limousine, even by accident. Don't put me in a 5-star hotel. Don't do anything that can be misinterpreted and played against me, even if I'm honest. And if there's a chance it can be misinterpreted, it will be, because I'm aiming for the high bar. And when you aim for the high bar, you're going to make people uncomfortable. And when you start shaking up the bee's nest, you don't think those bees are going to come out and want to try to attack you? Maybe it's not the bee's nest. It's bees, but it's also bees and it's hornets. That's what it is. When you start messing with the hornet's nest, you don't think those hornets are going to come out and start attacking you. Of course they will. It's their defense mechanism. I don't blame people for that. That's their own low expectation, low self-esteem, player-hating self-protection. They don't know any better and they can't compete on a level playing field with me. So they want to attack me from the side, the back. They won't come at me straight, because when you come at me straight on facts, I'm going to win every time. So I decided I had to be twice as smart, twice as intelligent, twice as well-dressed, twice as prepared, get up twice as early, stay up twice as late. An entrepreneur worked 18 hours a day to keep from getting a job. I had to define success as going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. I had to be able to meet and expand and expand in any test. If you had to be white walking a room and you had to hit an 8, then when I was black walking a room, I had to hit a 12. And I didn't feel resentment about it. In fact, they just made me better. People keep trying to call me. I'm going to finish this video. Folks just made me better. The haters just made me better because it made me hustle. It made me work harder, right? And so by the time this hit job came up, it was a hit job, it was a setup, it was a lie, and it was race-based. But I didn't let any of that bother me. So now you guys know that I'm not some pretty boy, so-called, trust fund baby, so-called silver spoon in my mouth, so-called had it easy. Now you know that I had it tough like everybody else. And I came from Compton in South Central LA and built what I have, which is a global organization now with hundreds of employees and tens of millions of dollars in budget, and making change and changing policy and making change in the world. But this is a threat to everybody else for whom I did not kiss the ring. Do you understand that? And you can't get mad about that. You have to understand that as a way of the world. But when you come at life that way and you're pursuing excellence, you better come straight, you better come right. That doesn't mean you're perfect, but it means you're honest, you're authentic, you admit admit your failures, but anybody else calls it forth. But you commit to never have a but next to your name. Operation Hope is one of the top 25% of all nonprofits in this country. The top quartile, not black nonprofits, not minority nonprofits. I knew that somebody was going to complain, well, John Bryant this and John Bryant that. No. 81 cents of every dollar goes to help poor people change their life. That's why I'm always talking about our facts, stats, statistics, and our outcomes, that we raise credit scores, we have 3 million clients, we have 30,000 volunteers. This is why I'm obsessed with the numbers, because numbers don't lie, okay? Facts are stubborn things, and I knew the facts would always protect me. And these reporters had to walk away with no story. That almost never happens. They had already had it written. It was front page, column left. They said, look, a young black man doing all this stuff, involved with power, involved with money. Of course, there's something. We're gonna find something. And when we do this, we're gonna get a Pulitzer Prize for writing this story. And I wouldn't have blamed them, because if I was them, I would have maybe thought that the story had to be at least a 50% chance of being true. But I just was destined to disappoint them. I was committed to disappointing them. And the story went away. See? Even in an unfair world, even when people are lying and conniving and scheming to hurt you, even when somebody close to you is trying to do you in, we save our worst behavior for those we care the most about. We save our worst behavior for those we care the most about. But you could not get me unless I gave you the gun, cocked it, and put some ammunition in it, and let you point it toward me myself. And I was not going to do that. So my attorney ultimately said to the reporters, you can pursue John Bryant if you want to, but if your story is in any way incorrect, we're going to own your home. We're going to own this newspaper. And they just went away because they knew the story was not substantive. It was no story. It was just a bunch of smoke and mirrors. So make your life real. Make you real. Okay, can you do that? Make you real. And the narrative of your life will follow. And I wanted to just share this story with you because I don't want you guys to get this impression that I don't have challenges. I haven't had challenges, and this wonderful person tonight admitted that they really wanted to come to my aid and my support stronger 10 years ago. They were a little sad that they didn't say anything publicly. People were talking about me and they didn't come to defend me. They were defending me in their heart, but they really wish they would have defended me more vocally. And tonight they wanted to, I guess, unburden, and I thank them for that. That was very lovely of them, and I don't feel anything negative. And I told them I don't even need to talk about this. I'm only talking about it because you need to talk about it. But I love them for that, and I just see the positive and I threw away the negative, and that's my message for you tonight. Don't live a life of buts. Don't let anybody say to you, I'd love to invest in whoever you are, but I'd love to support you, but I'd like to respect you, but I would love to admire that person, but I would love to partner with that person, but remove the buts from your name. Remove the buts from your name, which means be obsessed with excellence in your life. And that's why I love credit scores, because credit scores don't lie. Somebody in here put in there that their credit score increased 42 points. See, credit scores don't lie. My mother got an 884 credit score. Nobody even looks at her race. She puts whatever she wants in the computer, whatever she wants. She wants to buy a boat, yes. She wants to own a home, yes. She wants to start a business, yes. She wants to, whatever she wants to do. If you see 884 credit score, I didn't even know it went that high. In somebody's computer application, the answer is just yes. You see, that just neutralizes race. So when you're born black or brown in America, or a woman, understand you got to be twice as smart, twice as intelligent, twice as well dressed, twice as prepared, twice as hardworking, because you're born on probation in America. But that doesn't mean it has to be a negative experience. Maybe that just means it's forcing you to hustle and become stronger, better, tighter, over the rounded through it. You're gonna get to it. And while most people be taken out halfway through the battle, you'll make it all the way through the battle, be sitting on the bench smoking a cigar or drinking a glass of wine and chilling because it just doesn't bother you. Nothing bothers me anymore because I'm not a survivor, I'm a thriver. And you know what? I'm God's child too. And God don't make dirt. And you can't fall from the floor. And when you've been homeless, like I was homeless for 6 months of my life, what are you gonna do to me? Tell me you don't know? Tell me no? I had no when I walked in the door. I take no for vitamins. What, tell me you reject me? You can't reject me, the world rejected me. But God accepted me. What are you gonna tell me? I can't succeed? Well, who are you, by the way? Who are you, okay? Most people saying that you can't, if you succeed, are failures themselves. All I can say is, well, how you like me now? So the same people who said that I couldn't make it, that this wouldn't last, that Operation Hope was a blip on the screen, that John Bryant was a flash in the pan. Well, Operation Hope won the Innovator of the Year award from the American Banker, which is the first time in the American